Hi everyone, welcome to a Stamping to Share video. My name is Kalthoff and today I'm going to share with you how I created this Sympathy card. You can see that it uses the stamp set called Love and Sympathy. I'll give you a look at that stamp set. It's right here and it's one of my go-to sets when I do need to make a Sympathy card. And it also uses some in color designer series paper from our 12 by 12 in color designer series paper stack. And here is the inside. I used some beach house washi tape along the edges and then actually stamped the flower even over the top of the washi tape, and then of course the inside sentiment. So I did use all three stamps on this card and it's really easy to put together. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you're going to need is a piece of 4 1/4 by 11 inch basic gray cardstock scored at 5 1/2. And we're just going to go ahead and fold that in half. I have a bone folder here that will help this stay flat for us while we work with it. And the next thing that I would recommend doing is getting your inside panel. That will be Whisper White. I have that cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And I did go ahead and using the Beach House washi tape, I did go ahead and already put that down on the inside. So I just wrapped the edges, as you can see, behind. Now, one thing that I'm doing a little differently with this card is this particular card, the first one that I showed you, uses the little hearts here along the bottom in the pistachio pudding color. Well, it also has the pistachio pudding right here. On this card, I went ahead and I used the crisp cantaloupe washi tape along the bottom. So I'm also going to use crisp cantaloupe on the outside part of the card to coordinate. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and finish this up. What I want to use for ink is our Stays On Black. It looks like this. And I am just going to ink up that flower. And we are just going to stamp that right on the top of our washi tape right here along the left hand side. And there it is. Then we're going to ink up the inside sentiment, again using the Stays On Black ink. So that can go right here. And the inside panel is now complete. So I'm going to take some snail, and that's just a nice handy adhesive to use. You really only need to put it along the top edge. It'll stay just fine. And here we go. So we're just going to center that in on the panel and then burnish this down along the top so it has some good sticking action. There we go. Now we're ready to work on the outside part of our card, and we're going to start with some basic black cardstock. This is cut at 3 5/8 by 4 5/8. This panel will thus be 1 inch bigger, or I'm sorry, 1/8 of an inch bigger than the white panel, which is cut at 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. And so we can go ahead and we can put our designer series paper down on the outer part of the, or on this part of the panel. This designer series paper, which is from the In Color 2014 designer series stack in the 12 by 12, is 2 by 3 1/2. And you will want to stamp your flower on this as well. Now I did go ahead and do this in advance because it's just a simple stamp. And then I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're going to put this right here on that white panel. And the reason I use the glue is I want just a little bit of wiggle room to make sure these edges all line up evenly. And now what I can do is stamp the sentiment right here. So I have my sentiment that I want to use on the front. Let me line this up a little bit. It helps me if I sort of get my paper kind of lined up on my grid, and then I can just line up my stamp so that everything is nice and square. There we go. So now we can go ahead and, again, using some snail, which I think I've misplaced. Oh no, here it is. I am going to put a layer of snail on all 4 sides, And then this can be set right over our black. I'm going to set this over here so I can see what I'm doing. Black on black would be hard to line up, especially since this is just a 1/8 inch border all the way around. There. I think that looks good. Okay, kind of burnish that down. And then we're going to use some baker's twine in basic black, and I'm just going to tie it right off the roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a little extra twine than what I would probably normally do, just because I want to make sure that I don't take too long to tie this up for the video. So what I do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to knot it first, because that makes it a little bit easier when it's time to work on that bow. So if we have it knotted, which we do, now it will stay nice and stable for me as I tie off a bow. So there's our bow, and now we can just kind of get all those little pieces nice and even, trim it up with our ribbon scissors, and then we have the option of kind of sliding it into place right where we want it. And I pretty much want it centered right under my sentiment. And then I'm going to add just the nicest touch, which would be from the Hardware Essentials, would be one of these cute little clips. And this is the heart-shaped clip. I'm just going to attach it to the bow. Just put it on like this. And then I can bring the bow through. And let's see. And now, just to make sure that it stays here, because I don't want it accidentally not staying in place, I am going to get a glue dot, which I will put on the end of my paper piercer, and I'm just going to hold that glue dot right underneath where the knot of the bow is, and kind of right where that heart comes together there by the bow. And now this is nice and stable. So the bow is stable and the heart is stable. Alright, so now we have the front of our card panel complete. So now we just flip it over, and we're going to use some dimensionals on the back. And then we're going to center this in right on our card. So we can just make sure that that's nice and even right on our card. And it is. And we've just completed our Sympathy card. Here's a nice close-up look. Isn't that beautiful? Here's the first one that I had, the one in pistachio, and here is the one in the cantaloupe. So hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial. I surely enjoy teaching you. It's really, truly my pleasure. If you would like to support my Stampin' Up! Business, you are welcome to stop by my blog at www.stampingtoshare.com, and there's links there to place orders. Have a great day. Bye-bye.